I don't think I've heard this story before. This story was very interesting story of 7 young men who were tried, convicted, and executed in Virginia. 7 black men were executed for an alleged rape back in 1951. They have been pardoned. Today, Governor Ralph Northam granted posthumously pardons to the Martinsville 7. Martinsville 7 were accused of rape back in the 50s of a white woman. Of course, they had no DNA. Most of them were not identified. But they got railroaded into signing plea deals, even though over half of the men could not read nor write. None of them were afforded counsel. They all were pressured, coerced, and under extreme duress to plead to a charge or be lynched. They called it mob justice. Now, obviously, when we say mob justice, it's because they were poor. That's why they did the mob justice thing, right? That's why they were about to lynch these 7 men who they have no evidence that they committed this crime and who were beaten until they submitted to and signed confessions they could not read nor understand and had no benefit of counsel. But we all know that was all because of class. Because that's what all my like leftist Marxists, these people, I don't know, these people communists, I don't know. These people that don't want to be bold enough to say, hey man, black people get the short end of the stick because they're black. These people that want to deduce everything down the race. Well, here we go, 1951. 7 men all electrocuted within days of each other. Very speedy trials and very speedy executions because they were poor. No, it's because they were black. So these 7 men were executed. And Governor Northam granted them pardons today. There were a lot of people who did not agree with the sentencing here. As you can see, there were protests at the outside the U.S. Capitol. That's in front of the White House. Here goes a picture of the 7 men. And it was a horrific event. Doom 7, calm to end. Different ages. Here goes the family, descendants of the Martinsville 7. Looking for a little bit of closure and some justice finally. And what do you see here, guys? We see a lot of different people. Black, white, joined together in protest against this railroading. There's going to be a clip here that says railroading as well. It's crazy, but in Virginia, as many problems as we've had out of Governor Northam, Ralph Northam, he's become the first southern state to outlaw the execution or the death penalty. Now, I don't know if since then has other southern states fallen suit, but he was the first to do that. Maybe it was him being caught in blackface that prompted him to do so. I don't know. Here we go. Reparations. No, not reparations. 7 Martinsville Negroes railroaded by Jim Crow, Virginia. Jim Crow, Virginia. Yeah. Here goes Governor Northam's comments about it. He said, they did not deserve to die. We all deserve a criminal justice system that is fair, equal, and gets it right. No matter who you are or what you look like. Wow, seems like Governor Northam gets it better than a lot of my so-called allies who keep telling me not to focus on race, but to focus on class. I'm grateful to the advocates and families of the Martinsville 7 for their dedication and perseverance. Out of respect, let's read the names of the 7 men who were killed, executed by the government. Let's see here. Francis DeSales Grayson, Booker T. Milner, Frank Hairston Jr., Howard Lee Hairston, James Luther Hairston, Joe Henry Hampton, and John Claiborne Taylor. They were all convicted of raping a 32-year-old Ruby Shroud Floyd, who'd gone to a predominantly black neighborhood in Martinsville, Virginia, on January 8th, 1949, to collect money for clothes she had sold. 4 of the men were executed in Virginia's electric chair on February 2nd. 3 days later, the remaining 3 were also electrocuted. At the time, rape was a capital offense. Curtis Milner, one of the descendants of one of the slain men, says, "I was traumatized by this incident." Curtis Milner, who was 9 when his cousin Booker T. Milner was executed. I'm looking for closure. Prior to abolishing the death penalty earlier this year, Virginia had executed more people than any other state. Studies have shown that a defendant is more than 3 times as likely to be sentenced to death if the victim of a crime is white than if the victim is black. From 1908 to 1951, all 45 prisoners executed for rape in Virginia were black men. In 1977, the Supreme Court ruled imposing the death penalty for rape was cruel and unusual punishment. While we can't change the past, I hope today's action brings them some small measure of peace. This marks the governor's 604th pardon since his time in office. Well, I don't know how to feel about that. Well, I gotta say, we can give it up for Governor Ralph Northam. It's okay. It's okay. You gotta acknowledge when someone does the right thing or does the best thing they can do, I guess. If you're gonna give them, if I'm gonna throw them on the grill, reset race. If I'm gonna throw them on the grill when they screw up, well, I gotta acknowledge when they've done something that's worthy of acknowledging. Governor Northam has pardoned more people in his tenure than the last 4 governors combined. President Joe Biden faces similar pressure about abolishing the death penalty and also commuting sentences of the remaining inmates. He can't abolish the death penalty, but he can put pressure on the abolishment, and he's got Merrick Garland. So look to see if he's going to commute the sentences of the remaining inmates on federal death row. Just before Trump left office, he executed a lot of them. Bang, 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 bang. That's what Trump did. He said, oh, yeah, I'm going to let this one go, let that one go, that one, and now let's sign this deal here, and, yeah, let's execute as many as we can on the way out. Funnily, amazingly, those who boost Trump forgot that part when they talk about boosting Trump. They forgot about the rushed death sentences he handed out. Yeah, that part never gets mentioned. What Mr. Biden plans to do with the remaining condemned inmates remains unclear. His new Attorney General, Merrick Garland, has expressed concerns about the death penalty. Anyone should express concerns. I can't support it. Even when it pains me not to support it. Even when it gives me physical, stomach ache. When someone like Dylan Roof, I still can't support his murder by state. You got to have principles. If you know something is wrong, just because every once in a while gets somebody off the streets or someone gets the type of justice you think deep down in your heart, they should get that. On principle, you got to stand behind your principles. And principles are there not just when things are convenient.